He is the youngest head of state in the world, barely 34 years old and already a soldier, a leader and a legend. His name is Captain Ibrahim Traore, a man who overnight became the youngest head of state in the world. But this is not just a story of youth, or power, or even leadership. This is the story of a battle between a small African nation and one of the most powerful countries in the world, France. Welcome to Gravitas Plus. I'm the host. How did Ibrahim Traore become the leader of Burkina Faso? Well, let's go back to 2022, a year of turmoil in the small West African nation. The people were fed up. Their hopes for democracy had withered away like crops without rain, and their faith in the government was shattered. 2 coups in 8 months, each promising change but delivering more of the same. The latest by Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba ousted the democratically elected President Roch-Marc Christian Kabore. The military leader promised to tackle the twin challenges of security and poverty, but soon his regime lost steam. The terrorists continued to hold sway, the economy was crumbling and the people were desperate for change. Enter Ibrahim Traore, a young soldier who dared to dream of a better future for his nation. He wasn't a nobody. Traore had risen through the ranks, admired for his integrity and dedication. He was the right-hand man of Damiba, the very person who had seized power just months before. So when Traore made his move, it wasn't a complete surprise. People close to him sensed something was brewing. On September 30, 2022, Traore led a group of soldiers to seize power in a bloodless coup. The target, Damiba himself, the man who had ousted the democratically elected government. It was a stunning turn of events. Overnight, Ibrahim Traore found himself at the helm of a nation on the brink. He was the new leader of Burkina Faso, and what a leader he has been. At just 34, he is the youngest president in the world. But don't let that age fool you. This young leader has a vision. He wants to break free from the shackles of the past, from the legacy of corruption, mismanagement and insecurity that has plagued Burkina Faso for far too long. And then came the biggest test of his leadership. The people of Burkina Faso were living in fear. The menace of terrorism loomed large and the traditional allies seemed distant and ineffective. France, once seen as a protector, was losing favor, and so Traore took a bold step. He reached out to Russia, a new ally in a troubled region. Russia's Wagner Group, notorious for its controversial role in conflicts around the world, was invited to Burkina Faso. They came with a promise to restore order and crush the terrorists. It was a controversial move that drew international scrutiny, but Traore stood firm. He knew his people needed security and he was willing to explore all avenues to achieve it. Now, let's rewind a bit. France had long been the dominant force in Burkina Faso. After the country gained independence from Dutch colonial rule in 1960, it remained deeply connected to its former colonizer. France had a strong presence in Burkina Faso's politics, economy and security, but that relationship started to change. The terrorist attacks kept increasing and the French military, despite its best efforts, couldn't stop them. Many began to question the effectiveness of France's counter-terrorism strategy. And that's when the anti-French sentiment started to grow. It was a slow burn that eventually erupted into open resentment. So when Traore came to power, he inherited a nation on the edge. The people were disillusioned with France and desperate for change. They wanted a new direction for their country and they wanted it fast. The popular anger against France gave Traore the ammunition he needed to break away from the status quo. He used it to propel his agenda, promising to put Burkina Faso first. And the people responded. They rallied behind him, seeing in him a champion of their cause. The turning point came in January 2023. Traore made a bold announcement. He decided to expel French troops from Burkina Faso. The move was met with shockwaves. It sent tremors across West Africa and beyond. France, caught off guard, had no choice but to comply. Its troops packed their bags and left. Today, Russia stands as the most significant player in the Sahel region, committed to the fight against terrorism. The stakes are high for both Russia and Burkina Faso. Each side sees the other as a crucial ally in a complex web of global interests. The future of the Sahel hangs in the balance. When Traore came to power, he promised 3 major changes: security, justice, and development. It was a simple yet powerful message that resonated with the people. They were tired of living in fear, tired of seeing their country torn apart by violence and instability. They wanted someone to stand up and protect them, and they saw in Traore the leader they needed. He was young, ambitious and fearless, someone who wasn't afraid to take on the powerful and stand up for what he believed in. That's why his decision to expel French troops was met with such enthusiasm. It was seen as a bold move to protect the sovereignty of Burkina Faso and assert its independence from neocolonial influences. Traore is not just a symbol of hope for Burkina Faso, he is a beacon for other African nations seeking to break free from the shackles of the past. His actions have inspired a new generation of leaders across the continent. They see in Traore a model for change, someone who dares to challenge the status quo and fight for the rights of his people. Ibrahim Traore is not perfect, no human being is. But he doesn't need to be perfect to be a hero to his people. He is a flawed leader who made mistakes, but who also shows courage, compassion and integrity. He is a leader who puts his country and his people first. That's why the people of Burkina Faso love him. There are those who criticize Traore, both at home and abroad. His opponents accuse him of being reckless and irresponsible, of plunging the country into further instability and chaos. They warn of the economic and social costs of his actions and the potential for violence and unrest. But Traore remains defiant. He is willing to face the challenges head-on, to confront the extremists and the skeptics to protect his nation and its people. The story of Ibrahim Traore is one of courage, determination and hope. It's a story that transcends borders and inspires people across the globe. It's a reminder that even in the darkest of times, one person with a dream can make a difference. The journey ahead for Traore and Burkina Faso is fraught with challenges, but one thing is clear, the story is far from over. The battle for Burkina Faso's future has just begun, and now let's bring in our senior anchor, who is in Burkina Faso to get a first-hand account of the revolution. Ravish, can you tell us how is Ibrahim Traore being viewed in the country? You've spoken to ordinary citizens, to government officials, to diplomats. What kind of response have you got? I'm here in the capital city of Ouagadougou in Burkina Faso, and I think it is important to understand that Ibrahim Traore enjoys immense popularity among the people of Burkina Faso. If you speak to ordinary citizens, they see him as a hero, someone who has stood up for their rights and their dignity. There's a sense of pride and admiration for him. But it's not just the people who support him. Even some members of the elite and government officials admire his courage and his vision for the country. However, not everyone is happy with the status quo. There are some who criticize the government and express concerns about the country's future. But overall, there's a sense of cautious optimism and hope for a better tomorrow, exactly, and I think that's important to remember. Traore has inherited a nation on the brink, a country grappling with security, economic and political challenges, but he has shown a willingness to take bold steps to address these issues. He's reached out to Russia for military support, promising to prioritize the fight against terrorism and extremism. He's also pledged to work towards national reconciliation and to improve the lives of ordinary citizens. Of course, the road ahead is fraught with challenges. But Traore's leadership so far has given the people of Burkina Faso a reason to believe that their country can overcome its problems and build a brighter future. That's a fascinating insight. Thank you so much, Ravi, for being there on ground and bringing us these insights. Exactly, and I think it's important to remember that Traore is not perfect. No human being is, but he doesn't need to be perfect to be a hero to his people. He is a flawed leader who makes mistakes, but who also shows courage, compassion and integrity. He is a leader who puts his country and his people first. That's why the people of Burkina Faso love him. What do you think of Traore's decision to expel French troops from his country? Is it a bold move for sovereignty or a reckless act that jeopardizes stability? How do you think this will impact Burkina Faso's relationship with France and the wider international community? It's a bold move, no doubt, but it's important to understand the context. For decades, France has had a significant military presence in Burkina Faso. Some see this as a neo